So in this reading from the book of Ecclesiasticus, you can see kind of the radical nature of Paul's claim in 1 Corinthians that in a sense God has shown to be foolish the wisdom of the wise. That is, there's this great tradition in the scriptures that was also in many ways shared in Hellenistic culture and the Greek culture around wisdom and the preeminence of wisdom, and wisdom particularly in kind of philosophical reflection. And Paul says that the followers of Jesus, in the power of the Holy Spirit, have a wisdom that is, in a sense, that the philosophical meditations of this world cannot touch. And that was a radical claim. And Paul is speaking to people who did not have much leisure, as the book of Ecclesiasticus talks about. It says, only those who have leisure can be scribes and can seek wisdom. And so in some ways we need to combine the positive in the kind of the positive affirmations of Ecclesiasticus in this reading with Paul's Christian gospel to remind ourselves that one of the things the book of Ecclesiasticus does is it does affirm that it goes through all these various tradespeople, and it says, hey, listen, we couldn't have a city without them. We can't have a society without everybody doing their part to do what they are called to do to the very best of their ability and work really hard at it. That our community life depends upon many people doing very, in a sense, pursuing their gifts. And I wonder if that's the influence on Paul, where he talks about, in a sense, the democracy of giftedness within the church, that the Holy Spirit gives all these gifts, and no one can be boast or put themselves as above others. That all the gifts, that everyone has received a gift, all the gifts are from God, and therefore all the gifts are important, and all the gifts have an infinite value when placed at the service of others. And in some ways, just like Paul lists, you've got the blacksmith, you have the potter, you have the guy who's carving wooden things, you've got the guy who's carving signet rings. You've got the farmer who's always talking about his bulls and his plows and everything. That each one of these folks has something to contribute, and that's in a sense the model for the Christian church. That each of us is called to kind of do what we are called to do what we're gifted to do, and do it to the best of our ability, and offer that to the life of the community. But the correction of the Christian gospel and the Holy Spirit is that each of us also has a share in the wisdom of God. That each of us, because we have a relationship with Jesus through the power of the Spirit, each of us can live the wisdom of suffering love, the wisdom of mercy. Every Christian, no matter what their trade in this world, every follower of Jesus can participate in the wisdom of God. And they can participate as they go about their daily tasks, as they go about their vocations. That is precisely the place where the wisdom of God is most to be shown because in our tasks and our vocations, we're in relationship, we're interacting with other people. So as you go about your work today, it's a Monday after all. And so as you go about work today and this week, know that in your vocation and your task that God has called you to, that you have a wisdom and an excellence to which you are called in that task, but also that you share in a wisdom that transcends and ennobles and sanctifies that work, precisely because it puts you in contact with other people. In a sense, the other people are our work. And it is in our work with other people that the wisdom of God's love can most fully be shown. A reading from the book of Ecclesiasticus. The wisdom of the scribe depends on the opportunity of leisure. Only the one who has little business can become wise. How can one become wise who handles the plow and who glories in the shaft of a goad, who drives oxen and is occupied with their work, and whose talk is about bulls. He sets his heart on plowing furrows, and he is careful about fodder for the heifers. So it is with every artisan and master artisan who labors by night as well as by day, those who cut the signets of seals. Each is diligent in making a great variety. They set their heart on painting a lifelike image, and they are careful to finish their work. So it is with the smith, sitting by the anvil, intent on his ironwork. The breath of the fire melts his flesh, and he struggles with the heat of the furnace. The sound of the hammer deafens his ears, and his eyes are on the pattern of the object. He sets his heart on finishing his handiwork, and he is careful to complete its decoration. So it is with the potter sitting at his work and turning the wheel with his feet. He is always deeply concerned over his products, and he produces them in quantity. He molds the clay with his arm and makes it pliable with his feet. He sets his heart to finish the glazing, and he takes care in firing the kiln. All these rely on their hands, and all are skillful in their own work. Without them, no city can be inhabited, and wherever they live, they will not go hungry. Yet they are not sought out for the counsel of the people, nor do they attain eminence in the public assembly. They do not sit in the judge's seat, nor do they understand the decisions of the courts. They cannot expound discipline or judgment, and they are not found among the rulers. But they maintain the fabric of the world, and their concern is for the exercise of their trade. Here ends the reading.